Good evening or good night. Welcome back. Yeah. Welcome back to this awkward opening I tend to always do with these little videos I put together. Hope you all are doing well. I had a thought the other day, and something I kind of wanted to talk about on here. And with my life changing so much recently, with my new job hopefully getting started soon, I just need to finish up paperwork. Currently going through different internships and all that. I've really started feeling like I was having fun at work again, you know? And there was definitely a part of my life where I just didn't really feel like that. You know, I was working at restaurants where, although I was doing what I loved, it just wasn't fun. And it's a weird thing to think about, you know, like you're doing this job that you put so much of your time and effort in and that you care so much about, but it's just not enough. And you don't really have fun at it. You wake up, you feel begrudged to go and all of that. I'm like, I think it's unreasonable to have a perfect job out there to where every single day you wake up, you're like, I'm ready to go to work. I'm ready to do all these fun things. But I feel like it's at least reasonable to think that most of the time you're not necessarily happy to go to work, but like, okay, it's work time, let's do it. Rather than waking up and be like, I don't want to do this shit. You know, so like this past little bit, it was weird because my work schedule was weird and just not good. And not in the sense of like it was bad and like I was working too much, but more just, it was weird. And it had me wake up really early, and I'm not a morning person. I never have been, you know? So I wasn't a big fan of that. But it was something where like even when I was waking up then, I was still enjoying it a little. I woke up, I was like, I gotta wake up, but I'm gonna go to work. It's not that bad. And it really did kind of open this up, and it was really interesting to think about, you know, because like I mentioned, there's always jobs in the past, especially with me, where I just wasn't having fun. And it was the constant, I want to wake up and I hate this and I don't want to do it. And that's kind of what really struck me to be like, I gotta make sure I do what I want to do as a career, you know, because I was working at Starbucks, you know, something where it was honestly not the best money for the area I lived, but it was just something where it was just boring. It wasn't fun. It was either downtime where nothing's happening and I'm just waiting, and I hate waiting. That's the least favorite thing ever. I would rather have a busy day than a day where I'm standing not doing jack shit. And it was either that or high hell line to the door, and there was never an in between, and I hated it. The work wasn't fun. The coworkers were ass. And it just wasn't good. And that's where it would strap me down, being like, I gotta make sure what I do is what I want to do. And, you know, like I really was always like, I want to do culinary. That's what I'm currently doing. And that was kind of a little bit of an awakening moment where I sat down and I was like, let's make sure this is what I want to do. And I definitely tested it out a bit more. You know, I worked in more restaurants, which definitely helped. And then I got some jobs at like more fast casual restaurant. And that definitely cemented it for me. But like I said, it's something where I had to figure that out. But it's also at the same time, like I don't think any hobby could be a job. At least for me, you know, like I'm a huge fan. Actually, yeah. For example, I'm a huge fan of card games, you know. I play a lot of them, and it's my way of like getting out of my apartment, going out, meeting people, and doing things in person. And I love doing it. It's amazing. And especially once I like refound that passion in college, it changed the entire last little bit of year in San Antonio for me. But there's a bit there where I wasn't trying to go like full in on it, especially with like, I play a card game called One Piece, and it's not as big as a lot of the others. So you can't make a living if you're a top player even then, you know? So that's where I was like, okay, let's see what this is like at all. And I spent a month really sitting down and playing the game. And towards the end of it, it became not fun anymore, if you know what I mean. Like it was still like I had fun, but it wasn't the same of I'm gonna go do this thing. It was I gotta go do this thing. And then like I took a break from the game for a good couple of months as I like just was done. I'm gonna step away. I don't want to look at this anymore. Especially after I got horrible results at the tournament I was practicing for. It was just horrid, holy hell. But that's another thing where it's like, I don't think any passion or hobby of mine can be this job, you know? And it's something, I guess, interesting to me. Welcome to this random section where I just kind of recombobulate whatever the hell I'm saying for 8 million years. But it's kind of like burnout, you know? Like, I don't think you can really make a job, like your whole life passion and all that stuff, if you keep getting burnout. And there's something somebody said, some YouTuber, I forgot who, I think it was like Jay Shaw or something, but he said, if you're getting burnout from these things, maybe it's just not meant to be. And you know, it's not the nice thing to say. It's not the thing where you want to be like, but I want to do this, I think it'll be so fun, but I think it's a realistic thing to say. If you're getting burnout every single time you work for a good chunk, that you need to take a break from it, it's just not going to work out, you know? And I think that's important to think about, because you don't want that to happen, obviously, but you also don't want to lose that passion. If I was getting burnout every time I cooked for so long that it made me want to quit cooking altogether, I wouldn't want this to be my passion. I mean, my job. I wouldn't want to pursue this full-heartedly. I wouldn't want to be able to keep that passion alive. You want to be able to at least be happy in what you do. You don't always have to be excited, but you at least want to be happy. And I think if you're just tired of it so quickly, you know, it's hard to do. But I guess that's also a hard thing to think about. If you're trying to figure out what you want to do in life and all you have to go off of is your passions and your hobbies, then it's, I guess, a weird gamble in the way. I got lucky with me, and like I knew what I wanted to do when I was young, and I had the opportunities to test out that as a job, and I really did like it. But it really is, especially once you get later in, it's hard to kind of figure out that middle ground. You know, if you want to do programming for a living, but you find it fun, but you don't know how that burnout's going to go, you can't really test that out unless you go and become a programmer, and at that point it may be too late. But also, like, that, yeah. So I feel like that's the same thing for a lot of other careers. And I know, like, classmates of mine, especially in culinary school, kind of went into culinary school with that mentality of like, this is a huge hobby of mine and I want to do this and I want to really become good at it. But when they finished up, they're like, I can't be a part of this industry. There's a lot of people who dropped out because they're like, this is too much for me. I'm getting too tired of this work. And like, it's not only a waste of your time, but it's a waste of your money. And it's interesting to think about. But also at the same time, I know there's a lot of people out there, like my parents, who are like, they didn't get the job for fun. You know, they didn't go into this career being like, this is what I want to do. They went in it for the job. And that's just another part of it. You know, if you're just trying to get a job, it makes sense to just go in there, get it, make money, and then enjoy your stuff on the weekend. It would suck. It would suck, at least in my mind, it would suck, but that's a reality for a lot of people. And honestly, it's a reality that works for a lot of people. And if that's what you need to do, that's what you need to do. There's nothing wrong with it, you know? If you can make it work where you aren't miserable, then do it, especially if it pays well. Money is honestly the important factor with a lot of these jobs and discussions and all that. And you can go and do what you want as much as you want, but if you can't pay the bills, it's rough. Especially I was working a job once and like I loved it, I really did, but it couldn't pay for shit. And it sucks because you're like, this is what I want to do, but it can't go to over. But that was Texas minimum wage, and that's still $7.25 an hour, which is wild to think in this economy. But who knows, maybe that'll change sometime. I don't know, I'm not an economist. I don't have to get paid that much anymore because I get paid more. Man, that was a weird little tangent right there. Woohoo, jobs. Oh man, great. Wonder if I can ever make one of these videos without yawning in the middle of it. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk. That's kind of what crossed my mind, you know? And I think at the end of the day, it is important to have like your passions. And I think if you can make those passions part of your job, I think that's the perfect outcome for a lot of people. Being able to go to work every day doing what you love and not getting tired of it is obviously, that's the golden outcome. And of course, that takes longer for some people than others. I know people who didn't find that until their 30s, and I know people who found that when they were 12. So it's really something where you just gotta take it at your own pace and find it at your own pace. But once you do, I think it works out beautifully. But at the same time, there's no shame in just admitting that my hobbies and passions aren't gonna work out as a career. And that's okay. And I think sometimes people just need to hear that or need to understand that. Because, in my opinion, what's worse than, I guess, going into a job you don't really give two shits about is going into a job you love at first, but then you lose it and you don't like it anymore and you end up hating and resenting it. That's something where, in my opinion, that's just a far worse outcome, and nobody wants that. You want to be able to go to work and have fun. But that's all I really have to say about this. Hope you all have a great day. See you later.